Hey, what's going on, guys? Juan Cristales here, and in my goal to be completely transparent with you about some of the challenges that you have to deal with when you are building inside the city limits is why I'm making this particular video here. So check this out. We're building ground up duplexes, and we are at the point right now where we're going to be doing the driveways. So the driveways is an inspectionable item, which just basically means that before you can pour the concrete, the city has to come out and verify that everything's good to go. They have some checklist stuff that they have to do. So I'm going to show you this here real quickly. Okay, so these are my stamped plans. So as you can see here on the bottom right hand side in red, these are stamped by the city. This means that this particular plan is the one that has been approved. And I'm going to show you here when we get to the site plan. This is the site plan here. And let me show you kind of what I am referring to in terms of where we're at right now. So here's where we are. The structure itself has already been built, and then we have these driveways, right? So if you can take a look here, this is going to be Unit A, and this is going to be Unit B on this side. And so as you can see here, that these little arrows basically are saying that this driveway is going to be 12 feet wide. And this one's going to be the same thing. I know it doesn't show it, but it's implied there. So if we look here at this particular picture, this is the exact property that we're at, and what we're looking at here. We are 12 feet and we are 12 feet, right? We're following the plan. We've already come up with a plan. It's been approved, so we're just following the plan. We're not changing anything. Things are staying the same. One of the challenges here that we have, it's not really a challenge, is that we have this walkway here, the sidewalk. So we're gonna have to break into the sidewalk. We had to kind of, deal with that a little bit, but it's nothing too crazy. One of the reasons I like doing this, and I've told you guys before, is because it provides separation. One of the reasons that I like the separation, we're gonna put grass and sod in here in the middle, is so that in the event that this person here has their vehicle, let's say they have a truck, right? And what happens is they open their car vehicle, this way, they're not going to hit anybody's vehicle. And it's if it was like the driveway was right down the middle or something like this, then they could potentially do that. And now I try to purposely avoid that, so that way the people in Unit A here and the people in Unit B, their vehicles are completely separate. They don't have to worry about that stuff, right? And then, of course, we always ask our tenants that, or we don't ask them, we put it into the lease agreement that driving on the grass is completely unauthorized. So that's another little pro tip. Okay, so back to the site plan and the diagram where we're at. This is the drive. This is the actual road here on the front, and this is basically how the driveway ends. Now, these are the corners of the property boundary line here in the very front, just to kind of give you an idea. And then basically, this is where the property boundary line ends, and then we continue on. It's our responsibility, even though this is not part of our lot. Our lot responsibility is this way. This area right here is ours. This belongs to the city, and so either way, it's our responsibility to put the driveway in this way. Okay, so they have a diagram for that. Let me show you that. So this is the diagram for the city of Willis and what they want, and basically just gives everyone instructions on how to do residential or commercial driveways. So now they don't give you the distances here because everyone, you might want a 13-foot or a 14-foot driveway. It's whatever you want, right? Whatever, but they've approved the 12, so we went with the 12. So basically what I'm doing right now is I'm looking at this here. Let's make this blue. We're basically saying, okay, this is 12. Now the 12 feet. Now the challenge that we have, well, before we go into all that, let me just show you real quickly what all this stuff is about. This is just a standard driveway detail. Here, they're talking about a half-inch preformed 1-inch board for an expansion joint. So basically, it's just a piece of wood there. And the reason we do the piece of wood there, or the city requires that, is so that, during times of high rain or drought or whatever, the concrete shifts a little bit, and you just have some room for the concrete to move without it cracking and breaking and having all those types of things. So that's what the expansion joint is for. It allows some movement inside of the driveway, especially when you have vehicles that are coming in, very, very heavy, different types of vehicles, whether it's a car or a truck or something like that. Now, this is for residential. And so basically that's what they're saying here. It says provide expansion joint only if connecting to existing concrete drive. There isn't one existing, so we don't have to worry about that. And then here it says the sidewalk section through the driveway porch, same thickness as driveway approach, sloped at a 1/4 per foot. So basically what they're saying here is that the rain should be going away from the house in this direction, right? Understandable. So we do have a sidewalk here that we have to take into consideration. Now, here's the problem that I've been having with the city. Oh, before I look at this. So you see the little grading here. They want us to do this and all this other stuff. But here's the challenge that I've had with them right now. And this is normal stuff, guys. We were on the opposite end of the street where we had a culvert. Let me show you. So we were on the opposite end of the road. So I'm sorry, opposite end of this lot. So on the back side of this lot is another duplex that we did. The difference there that instead of a sidewalk, there was a culvert, which is basically just a ditch. And so we had to put this tube that was 20 foot wide, uh, and it had to like basically go through underneath the driveway. So it was like here, and then it just went that way. Okay, so because the tube was 20 feet wide, we just had to basically put the driveway out to that much. So it didn't really matter. So we just did it, and we did a 20 foot. The initial part was 12, and then we ended up making it wider to 20. It was like 12, 16, and then 20 just to like make it look a little bit normal. And it wasn't a big deal. So we passed the inspection, no issue, but I didn't really take into consideration like the implications of not having that. So now let's check out the problem. So one of the things that was kind of like left up into interpretation for what we're trying to do here is this part right here. It says radius R, 10 for commercial, 10 feet for commercial drives, 5 feet for residential. Now it says that the radius needs to be 5 feet for residential, which is what we're doing. So my guy took to mean that as long as this curved piece of wood is 5 feet or more, then that should suffice, right? That's what he was thinking. So let me show you. So I send this picture over to the city, right? Because it said on there that the curved area radius needs to be 5 feet, right? But it's kind of like subject to interpretation. So from here where it starts to curve all the way out to this side where it ends, look at this. Let me zoom in here for you guys so you can see that I'm not making this stuff up. And, we're at 10 feet. 10. You see that 10 feet? And I'm just like, that reasonable man standard, right? It's curved, the radius is 10 feet, that should suffice. And they're like, no, that's not right. I'm like, well, what do you mean? Like, I need to know specifically what it is that you mean. And so we had to go back and forth with the city to try to figure this out. Okay, so I drew these lines on here to kind of help you understand. And this is exactly why, like, I mean, I had to get the senior building inspector involved in this to get a definitive answer on what it was that they wanted because it was not clear to me on this diagram that they have. There, it's just not. And so, look, check this out. So this is ended up doing it. I drew this. I said, so are you saying, city, that what you need is going to be an additional 10 feet, so 5 feet each side, right? Because we're looking at residential here. So you're saying you need 5 feet this way here, and then 5 feet this way here for the curve to be open. And so then that way the driveway is 12, making the end where it meets with the actual street needs to be 22 feet wide. That's going to look a little bit weird, but that's what they're asking for. And so the guy's like, yeah, I'm like, but that's not clear. It's not clear in the diagram that you have because it just says radius R equals 5 feet for residential. Like, doesn't really kind of give me any direction. So anyway, long story short, guys, we're gonna get this thing fixed. Unfortunately, we failed the driveway inspection. Again, transparency I think is important because you guys think that, some of us who have been doing this for a while got it all figured out. This is going to be the last time we make this mistake. I'll tell you this much right now. It's the last time we make this mistake because we figured it out. Even though this is kind of weird in what it is that they want, but that's what we're going to do. We're just going to get done. No big deal. Another couple of other things here for what the city's going to require. They want the driveway to be a minimum of 6 inches thick. You can go out there and double check that yourself after the guy's done it. They want the type of concrete that you're going to be putting in to be 3,000 psi mix at a minimum. The rebar is a number 3, which is that tells you the thickness of the rebar, and then a minimum of 16 inches on center for commercial drives, or 6 by 6 by 6 wire mesh for residential drives. We don't do the wire mesh. I don't really like that stuff. I think it's very cheap and doesn't hold the concrete very well together, just from experience. And I recommend you guys do the rebar like we did, which is the thick stuff. The price difference is not that much, but it's a much better quality product that's going to stand the test of time. That's all I got for you guys today. Thanks so much for watching. I'll talk to you soon.